CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris is with us from Washington. Steve, according to our latest poll, we see that most Americans oppose Donald Trump's Muslim ban, though over half of Republicans say they are in favor of it. So dig a little deeper for our viewers. What do you make of those numbers?
Well, it's like many of the controversies we've talked about regarding Donald Trump over the last 6 months, where he's talking to Republicans who generally support the things that he's saying, yet the rest of the country seems not to like what he's saying, and in larger numbers. And so I think in the short term, these kinds of things don't help Donald Trump. We're seeing some initial polling out of South Carolina and New Hampshire that sort of verify the fact that this Muslim proposal will not really hurt him much in those places. But the question he's going to have to answer as the nominee, if he becomes the nominee, is how is he going to deal with Democrats and independents who in large numbers oppose a lot of the things that he's saying.
Let's talk a little bit more now about Tedd Cruz. You heard in Major Garrett's story, he's picked up a very big endorsement from a prominent social conservative. He seems to be improving in the polls. I don't know if this is any indication as to whether or not Donald Trump thinks he's a threat, but Donald Trump just tweeted out a couple of pretty harsh tweets. He's coming out swinging, and he says, you know, that Tedd Cruz will fall like all the others, among other things. So what do you say? If Tedd Cruz has a good performance in the next debate, is there a possibility he could knock Donald Trump off the top of the polls?
Well, he's been a pretty good debater. There's 2 more debates after the next debate, so there's 3 debates before the first voting happens. What's going on with Cruz is he's really consolidating this evangelical support in Iowa, which is, at least in 2012, was over half the turnout for the caucuses that year. And so he's pulling people away from Ben Carson and others, and if he can win Iowa, I think that puts him on an interesting track, because Cruz isn't really a natural in New Hampshire, which is the next voting, but then South Carolina happens, and then on March 1st, there's a bunch of states, Super Tuesday, Southern primary, and there are several states on that list, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas among them, that are very maybe favorable to Tedd Cruz and the kind of things he's talking about. They're very conservative states, evangelical voters. He's been spending a lot of time there. He's really invested a lot of time campaigning there a lot earlier than everybody else. And so it'll be interesting to see if Cruz can turn an Iowa win into some wins later and really give him a head start on this delegate race next spring.
Yeah, I wonder if Cruz is going to take the bait. I mean, he sort of stayed out of the Donald's firing line for quite some time now. But even if you give a lukewarm response to his Muslim ban proposal, as Tedd Cruz has, the Donald still finds an opportunity to attack, and he will. So, Steve, let's talk about Christie for a moment. He is surging in a New Hampshire poll. Out today, it says that the New Jersey governor is in second place behind Donald Trump, which is really surprising. But he's not doing much better anywhere else. So how significant is this for him?
It's very significant in the sense that he's really been in the low single digits for months. People sort of wrote him off even before he jumped in over the summer, mainly because of his problems in New Jersey. But over the last couple of months, we've started to see at least his favorables flip. He was, had higher unfavorables and favorables in places like New Hampshire. Those started to flip, and now we're starting to see him getting some more support. And there was a poll out this morning that showed him doubling his support in a month. And this, the establishment is looking for an alternative to Donald Trump. They're looking for an alternative to Tedd Cruz. And this could be an opportunity for Christie, if he does well in New Hampshire, to then maybe be the establishment's choice moving forward. The question for Christie is, what is his appeal outside of a place like New Hampshire? He's considered more of a moderate, having governed in New Jersey. So the question is, naturally, where does he go? Down south in the southern primaries, I'm not sure that's really a place where Christie's going to gain some traction. But who knows? If the establishment can get behind him, maybe that's something moving forward.
Steve Chaggaris in Washington. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks.